hanging out, just another night of the week. Or to be more specific, it's a Tuesday Eve. Got some ideas that just might intrigue. You should come on by tonight, we're spilling the beans.
Thank you, Connor, for the wonderful jingle.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Good job, Connor.
Made today, right?
Yeah, I made that real quick.
Half an hour, right?
Yeah, just an idea.
Amazing. Just an idea?
Just one of the many ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is Spilling the Beans.
Spilling the Beans.
Mm-hmm.
A podcast about ideas.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we came up with the idea about this podcast about ideas
Mhm.
when John mentioned it.
Yeah, me and Kaylee were sitting at the picnic table at the house. And
Very
we
good.
were like, hey, wouldn't a podcast about ideas be cool? I feel like I haven't seen anyone do it. I don't know. I guess I didn't do any research whatsoever. So I'm sure people do it.
Mm-hmm.
But in our minds, we're doing something completely unique.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
people can take our ideas too, and
Right.
they can use them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If someone
Yeah.
thinks it's better because we don't have the time, right? Who has the time? And so
Yeah.
it's much easier to just talk about the ideas
It
than to act them out. So, but some of them, maybe, we will put a patent on. We will see you in court.
I don't
No,
think
I'm
so.
just kidding. Just kidding.
No, I think the idea here is to, potentially make a little community of people who maybe are trying these ideas or,
Mhm.
or people who have ideas themselves that maybe we can talk about and, just maybe give some creative inspiration to people that are, looking for it.
Mhm.
And, it might just be a spark that goes in a completely different direction that someone, sees. But yeah, like you were saying, I feel like, there's some ideas you have that you pursue, a lot. And then there's some ideas that are always sort of going to be on the back burner. Not that
Mhm.
they're any less of an idea,
Yeah.
but I've experienced that. I'm sure you guys have too, where just you got enough things going on, it's going to be difficult to kind of reach onto the back burner and start working out these other things. And I think that this is a fun way to maybe see them come to fruition.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's like you can acquire like fans of an idea,
Yeah.
and so they are the ones who might, and us too. We're just like excuse me, like spilling the ideas out.
Yeah.
Spilling the beans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think like what's kind of fun about it is generally ideas are hoarded and they're like, this was my idea. And
Yeah,
I don't
right,
want. I want
right.
to be the first one to do it. And
Mhm.
and I think it's I don't know. Maybe it's a bit of a relief to just
Put it out.
put
there.
them out there into the world
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
just say, you know what? I think it's a good idea. Let's see other people try it.
Right. Right.
And we'll all share it.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of interpretations of ideas, for anything. There's plenty of people out there that
Mm-hmm.
would be interested in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our first idea, I think, that we were going to discuss was Quint.
Quint.
Kaylee, you're familiar with Quint, right?
From Jaws. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
You got eaten.
He sure did.
He sure did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it earlier, and imagine if Quint had a long lost son, and it was Squints from Sandlot.
That sounds awesome.
Well, the backstory to the idea is Quint from Jaws, and I was even wondering, like, could you even? It might be a discussion for another time, but like legally, do that? Is that like a character that's owned by
It
the
is.
movie, kind of? You know what I mean? So would it have to be kind of bootleg? But
Yeah.
still, the idea is like a backstory to Quint.
Yeah.
The book doesn't have really any. I think the movie even has like more backstory.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can kind of make it up, and kind of see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? See what's going on there. It's a fun idea. And comic. We were thinking of it being like graphic novel.
Yeah.
Type,
Like
right?
a graphic novel comic. To go back to your point about it being owned, the character is owned,
Yeah.
and
right.
it is technically a copyright infringement to create anything about this character. Now
Mhm.
there's ways to get around that. You can change the spelling of his name and say it has nothing to do with him, and also in general, these big companies, I don't know. Do you guys know where Jaws? I mean, I know Spielberg probably. It was an early Spielberg movie, so I don't know how much of the rights he actually owns. Was it Universal?
I think it's Universal because they have the thing at Universal Studios, right?
Yeah.
They have the
Yeah.
ride.
Oh,
I
right.
think it is.
Right.
Generally, things like I think that this would be considered fan art.
Yeah.
And I know that there are conventions, in particular with comics, and there's like conventions of people writing basically bootleg comics about, and they're considered fan art. And at the end of the day, it's probably more promotion
Mhm.
for the characters than it
Mm.
is, kind of, thinking that it's going to infringe, or not infringe, but is going to take sales away from
Mhm.
the film Jaws. I think generally these companies are not going to be bothered with it. It's not bootleg in the sense that we're reproducing the film in any way. We're just,
Right.
it's fan art.
Yeah.
So I think that there probably wouldn't be, even though technically it is a copyright infringement. I
Mhm.
don't think you're going to run into problems.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's. I mean, because that would potentially be a problem for any idea. Any idea could be anything else,
Yeah,
especially
right.
if it's referenced to that.
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, that's like you said, fan art kind of.
Yeah.
Just work
Yeah.
with it. Work with it.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to
Yeah.
see a problem. I mean, unless it becomes absolutely massive,
Unless
which,
it's like a popular, it acquires popularity.
I feel like it's so niche though.
We could
that
call it Quilt,
Quilt.
and
Yeah.
it's about the blanket.
Or we could call it Squint.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
His
Squint.
son,
Squint,
his
yeah.
son Squint,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's narrating the stories his father told him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because remember that part where he does like the flashback when he's talking about the beast? But then he's talking about like his grandfather or something.
I don't.
You don't
when-
remember
when
that?
is
And his
this?
grandfather in the Sandlot when they're talking about
in
the
the
beast.
Sandlot. Oh, I thought you were talking about Quint for a second. I was like, when was he talking about his?
But if in the flashback, instead of like his grandfather being like a police officer or something, you could easily like replace that story with like
Yeah.
Quint like battling a shark.
Yeah.
You
or,
know,
or maybe Quint was a police officer. At
or
some
maybe he
time,
was beforehand. Yeah.
You know,
Right.
I think that would be fantastic to like take the two and like really make them work.
Yeah.
Like to like, oh yeah, this is where
Mm-hmm.
it came from.
Like he defeated all the land beasts, so then he moves on to like the sea beasts.
Yeah. Yeah.
When
Yeah.
he retires or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we've been talking
great.
about this for a while.
Yeah.
I think we were sort of thinking we had I think when we first started talking, we said it could like kind of go in two directions.
Mm-hmm.
It could go like very fanciful,
Yeah.
very for lack of a better term,
Like adventurous.
yeah, but like maybe cartoony in a sense where like I don't know, he's born with his mustache and he slays
Yeah.
a dragon. Like it could go in one direction that's very like just imaginative, I
Yeah.
guess, and unrealistic. But then it could go in another direction where we could tie every little bit of information in the movie
Mm-hmm.
to sort of a story.
Right.
Every little
Right.
thing he speaks. So like,
Mhm.
I mean, it could go in many directions.
Yeah.
But I think those were the two things. Is it like kind of like silly and like self-aware, or is it like really trying to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
you
don't
can
know.
go back and forth even. I mean, because what does that well is Hellboy. Some of the comics
Yeah.
that I read, especially I read Young Hellboy recently, and it's really fun. You know what I mean? It stays with like different lores of different beasts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I was kind of keeping that in mind and Quint going backwards. But I mean, I love the idea for Squint.
I think it's great. Yeah.
Squint's awesome. You
I
know?
feel like there's been I've actually gone down some of these rabbit holes of like there was one where you know, I probably the most popular one was like the Walt from Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
His like early life was Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's these like there's a name for that too, and I can't recall the name for like these sort of like rabbit holes when you
Oh, iceberg.
something like that, right?
It's like an iceberg. Like you get closer and closer to like underneath. And now I'm super ignorant too. I have no idea. I don't follow the popular things. But
yeah.
It's like iceberg. I don't know if there's a saying. If you're iceberging, I don't know if that sounds. You know.
But yeah, I thought that would that I think that would be really cool. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an iceberg. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that the saying?
Oh, but it's funny that you connected just from the names. Yeah, that's great.
Oh man.
Squint
yeah,
and quit.
Really good.
Yeah.
I think it was
Feels
just the flashback thing that really did it.
Yeah.
I don't know the story. The Sandlot was like I watched Sandlot when I was very young.
Well, that's too bad. You should rewatch it.
Yeah, I
now
know.
that you're
Oh,
older.
it's like the best summer movie. One
Really?
of them. Yeah.
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 Yeah,
So
it's really
so
good.
what happened? Like what's the story?
What doesn't happen?
They're all in the tree house, and like the whole thing is like they lost. There's like the new kid that moves to town,
Yeah.
and he's not good at baseball or anything, and he goes and plays with the kids that like all play regularly, and
And this kid sucks.
yeah, he's terrible, and Smalls, and then they lose the baseball, but like they can only buy like one a day or something like that, so they're like, oh, it was our last ball. So he runs home and gets his stepdad's ball, which is signed by Babe Ruth.
Oh, okay.
And they play with it, and
Oh,
then
does
it
it
know,
goes
like-
over the fence, which is where the beast lives, which is a big scary dog.
Okay.
And then all the kids are like, what the hell is wrong with you? You know, that's a Babe Ruth ball. So then they're trying to figure out like to get it back, and they have a sleepover in the treehouse, and Squints tells the story of like the beast, and his grandfather was like a police officer, and the whole thing is like the beast kept just like eating people. So
Okay.
they made the owner, the meanest old man or something, like lock him up in the backyard and feed him like bones and stuff like that, so he had to like stay away from everybody.
Okay. Did they ever allude to the it was his father or grandfather? Father?
It was his grandfather.
Grandfather.
I think,
Did they
yeah.
ever allude to his name?
My grandfather, something Squints something.
One thing we have to remember is it's back. It's in the past.
It is in the past.
So
In the
what
movie,
year was it? Do you remember? Sandlot?
It was like 90s, wasn't it?
No. It
But the
takes place
year in it-
in like 70s,
Oh, really?
I think it was.
60s?
It might have been like late 60s, early 70s.
which Jaws was what?
Well, was
It had
Jaws
to be-
supposed to be this?
It had to
70s
be.
too?
Well, I mean, I would imagine, just based off of, I don't recall them ever mentioning the date, but just based off of the technology they have to study the shark, and B, including the boats that they have,
Mm-hmm.
and B, the Narragansett can,
Yeah.
was so it's dated, in some way or another.
And what's the year?
It was filmed in 1975.
And it's
Jaws.
right. I don't know that they ever alluded to the time period, but
Yeah.
my point being, like, the boats that they have that they were using
Mhm.
weren't older boats. They were
Yeah.
boats around that time. Like the submersibles in particular.
Yeah.
You remember when he goes out, when Hooper
Oh,
goes
yeah,
out at
yeah.
night?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think those were very modern to the time.
like 75.
Yeah.
1975.
Yeah, I think so.
So that means and when was Sandlot? Sandlot was like supposed to take place.
1962.
Okay.
Hmm.
So that's 10 years difference. Can Squints grow up to be Quint by the time
Oh, I guess
he's 28? He's just
Maybe.
aged
He goes in, like, a
differently.
time
he's
warp
just
or
aged
something?
different. Did they
He's-
ever allude to his age? Quint's age?
Squints was like 10.
Yeah, they're all like
So he'd be
12
like
or
22
something like that.
and he looks like that.
Maybe he just
Maybe
he
he
had a
like
hard
ran
life.
into like something like that aged him terribly or
Well,
something.
maybe the whole shark incident where he was the sharks were picking off all his Navy SEAL. Were they Navy SEALs? I think they were Navy
Oh
SEAls.
yeah.
You know the big monologue in the boat when he's talking about how the sharks were picking off his friends
Oh yeah.
when
yeah.
they were
One by one.
One by
yeah.
one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so maybe that was very traumatic. Maybe
Mhm.
he went through that when he was 18 and he aged like
Yeah.
35
whoa,
years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
in
They're like, wasn't that like 2 years ago?
yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
That's why
So,
there's-
I'm just trying to think if we're gonna connect the universes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How old was he? Like, so that's 10 years to look like that.
Yeah.
Poor bastard's
Yeah.
been. He must have gone through. Look at all the shark mouths too.
Yeah.
There's like hundreds of sharks,
Yeah.
sharks' mouths and jaws in his like hutch.
Yeah.
It's pretty like impressive. It's really cool.
Yeah. So I-
Oh, his grandfather's name was. This is actually pretty good. Chief Squidman Palladorus.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And then he just took on the shortened Quint.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, who's grandfather?
Squints.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Squidman.
Squidman.
Hmm.
Yep.
Jeez, that's a terrible name.
Yeah.
That's a really bad name.
Yeah.
Not
well,
bad
that's
for a
still
man of the
that's a
sea,
good
though.
name for like a villain. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It sounds like kind of like they were going for silly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe just like leave out the Squidman part
Yeah.
of it all. You know. But
Mm.
yeah, that's cool.
Hmm.
You could go with that.
What do you think, like, if you had to define like the origin, if you had to define the origin of Quint,
Yeah.
do you think it would be something that would be sort of like a silly thing? You know, he's born with a mustache and a harpoon, you know, and wearing his hat, and you know, I don't know. Or would it be more of like, let's sort of tell maybe a genuine story?
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of it like being like a timid kid, you know,
Mm.
and just being kind of barked at, and you finally do see all of that like show up as he gets older. But like in the imagery for me is just like his uncle or whoever, who's like always like trying to explain who his mother is
Mm.
or who his father is.
Yeah.
And so
So maybe
then
there's-
training him on certain things, and then him just saying like it's just an experience that's gotten him to where he is.
Yeah.
But adding Squints to the universe,
That could add.
you
the
don't really know
silliness
much
a little
about
bit.
Squints outside of the baseball stuff. You could just mention like, yeah, we play baseball every now and then with some friends.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah.
yeah,
So in that scenario, there would probably be sort of a traumatic moment that turns him from a shy, timid kid to a brute, fearless,
Gritty sort of.
gritty
person.
sort of, yeah, guy, right? Who crushes beer cans and, you know, yeah,
he has like cat nails. He like makes that.
Yeah.
Like across the
yeah, that's
chalkboard.
tough to do. Yeah,
Mhm.
that takes a.
I don't even know if it's possible. Like I've tried it.
Well, you would imagine that, like, you know, obviously it was the Navy SEALs he was in, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did they mention that? I don't know if they mentioned that.
He mentions it.
He does.
Yeah.
Was it just Navy SEALs? Or
I thought-
it was
I thought he
definitely
was
had
saying
something to do with.
Navy. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Naval.
had to.
Yeah.
Had to have something to do with
Yep. U.S. Navy veteran.
U.S. Navy veteran,
Mm-hmm.
not Navy SEAls in particular, just you-
It just says Navy.
Navy.
Yeah.
Hmm. So,
sure.
you know, obviously that could very well be the traumatic event. But I feel like that might leave the early part of his life.
Yeah, we can add all kinds of trauma before that.
You
like,
could,
you know?
yeah, because that leaves a long part of his life, right?
Yeah.
Because I have to imagine he's in his 50s or so, late 50s in the movie.
Right.
So
Right.
that leaves a big chunk of his life where he's not getting into some shit, where he's like kind of, you know, just
Mhm.
being timid.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
No. Like yeah, and the idea too is you want like adventures, right?
Mm.
Whether serious in parts or even silly in parts. I think there might be a way to find a good balance.
Oh wow,
Um,
his story that he tells is a true story.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, with the sharks outside of the. Yeah,
Really?
that is true. Yeah, yeah.
What
Like-
was there like a name attached to that? Like
Terrifying truth in Quinn's story.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember seeing that. That was like, you know, or there was some kind of fact to a lot of things that he would say,
really?
and that's something that actually happened in the war. There were like a certain amount of sailors that were reported missing, and it was like in the thousands. I could be wrong on the numbers, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Some ridiculous number.
Hmm.
How many like sailors were killed during that that war or that battle? I guess it would have been
300 of the 1,195 crew for the people that sank
They died from sharks or from the
from sinking. Only 316 men would survive the coming days.
Whoa! Out of
The-
1,100.
The
Wow.
rest killed by either exposure, dehydration, shark attacks, or worse. What's worse than that?
What's worse than that? Yeah.
Oh, that's scary.
I wonder what worse is.
I know.
I don't. I'm trying not to.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's pretty I guess like resource for like writing
Yeah,
for anything.
right,
That right there,
really.
just like doing more research into
So I
into
guess
that
like
piece.
yeah, to me like just hearing that and just you know, knowing that a lot of these you know, that was from his big monologue in the
Mhm.
film, but like he's very it seems like he's very rooted in real things that happen. So I think like maybe not lean in towards him being a dragon slayer or something, you know, like keeping it very realistic.
I like him slaying dragons.
Yeah, maybe.
I never thought of him slaying. Well, we did talk about like kind of like
Maybe his
Lovecraftian
ancestors.
monsters.
Yeah, we did.
We were
talk.
like discussing that kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
Which could even still happen between, you know, who knows? But yeah,
Yeah, it sounds like it'd be a good like just down to earth, real thing. Even though like you know some of the experiences will be quite you know earth shattering
right,
for a person.
right,
Mhm.
You know, I can see that being really cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be pretty gnarly. And if even there was some kind of like, if we wanted to add any kind of fantastical element to it, it could even happen at that battle.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something that he sees. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
And that would also, I mean, that's where you're stepping into, where you're basically making too like graphic that monologue that he has in that scene. You know, so.
Yeah.
Which is like pretty awesome,
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty dark.
Yeah, that would be a dark.
You
Yeah.
know? But and you could do. I mean, yeah, that could be like a final issue or something like that. If there was some kind of or final chapter.
I guess it would end there, right? It would end at the bow, like we saw the ending of the story.
Well, I had
With
the.
Quint.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
We saw the ending of the story, so that's the ending of the story.
Right.
So we're starting from the beginning,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and we have to figure out all the things that led up to him becoming a shark hunter.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
what would someone, you know, would that just come from like a passion of catching wild animals, or you know, like apex predators, or you know, obviously living on the sea? It took place pretty close to here, right? Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where it's kind of supposed to be. I think
That's where it's filmed. Is it supposed
Yeah.
to be there?
it's like a fake island.
Yeah, it's called
Amity.
like Amity. Yeah.
Amity.
Um,
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
Yeah.
it's a. I mean, it is, and it's supposed to be like a vacation, like, you know,
Yeah.
Block Island,
Yeah,
Martha's
right.
Vineyard type place,
Yeah, right.
Beach town.
beach town, right?
Beach town, tourist summer town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot you can do. And you know what kind of sparks that idea too, and makes and kind of validates it is like it's really interesting when they're swapping stories. When he's swapping stories with
Hooper.
yeah.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
is great.
What kind of car do you think he drives? Quint.
He rides a horse.
He rides a horse?
No. I can't even imagine him driving a car.
It's
I
either
just
going to be
imagine-
like I feel like it's either going to be like a rusted up pickup truck,
Mhm.
like a,
a little moped. Like a
or
rusty
I was
moped.
actually thinking also like a real small little like Chevy Nova.
Oh
Or-
yeah.
not the earlier Chevy Novas, but like I guess the '80s Chevy Novas. Those
Okay.
little
Yeah,
yeah.
boxes.
yeah, like or like a little tiny rust bucket. I imagine it's rusty,
Mm.
right? I feel like
Yeah.
he rides in something that's rusty, not
Yeah.
something that's very clean paint anyway.
I could also see him on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I could see him on a motorcycle. Yeah,
You know, one that he like built from scratch.
yeah,
You know, something like that.
He puts
Yeah.
sharks in the sidecar when he brings them back.
Yeah.
What if he rode a skateboard?
No.
It'd be funny to see him riding a skateboard.
I'm kind of chuckling thinking too, like of what happened to Squints. Like, did he go to war like 2 years like after the end of Sandlot? You know,
Mm-hmm. Well, he in the movie he married Wendy Peppercorn.
Wendy Peppercorn.
So
right?
maybe he had a bad divorce from Wendy Peppercorn after all the Navy stuff happened, and
Yeah, but I think the war was like 2 years, or like
mm.
around the time that the movie took place. So he like went to war young.
Mm.
Hmm.
So, I don't know.
Hmm.
We can do all kinds of things with that.
Yeah, yeah.
How do
What was
we
his
age
boat? The
Squints?
orca. Boat was the orca.
That's pretty cool too. That's like the only known animal to hunt great
Sharks.
whites.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's such a cool name. I
Yeah,
never
they're-
even thought about that.
Yeah, yeah. They're violent.
I
They're
never
kind
even noticed it. That's so smart.
yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Where do you think that boat has gone?
Yeah. Yep.
You know, did he live
Mhm.
in Martha's Vineyard his whole life? Probably not, right?
Mm.
Was he saved by orcas in
Maybe.
that bay?
That would.
You know, that'd be all right. And that's like kind of the touch of the anything kind of spooky or supernatural.
And that
Mhm.
that could also be a reason why, you know, do great whites hunt orca as well?
No.
They
no,
don't.
they leave. There was like this really cool report I heard that like the helicopter kind of caught like just this massive pool of blood,
Mm.
you know, at a spot in the ocean, and they said, oh, that's a great white, like chewed up great white. When they got closer, they're like, oh, that's like orca, and orca would have done
Mm.
that. That's the only thing that could have done it. And then all the other sharks that they had trackers on, like left that part of the world.
Whoa.
Really?
Yeah, they left that part of the world.
Wow.
They went like to other parts of the ocean, which is massive. I think it was in Pacific.
Huh.
It could have been. It was just one of the big oceans. It was
Yeah.
insane, and the sharks just bailed
Yeah.
and totally like disregard for their current migration path and all that.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
It's so funny because they look like such a peaceful, like happy animal. You know.
There are
What,
very
whales?
few like
Whales.
human attacks.
Yeah.
They are starting to like attack boats. They're starting to coordinate and learn how to attack boats.
Yeah,
and
I
throw
saw
boats
that.
Off.
Yeah, that has been happening.
I don't know what that's all about, but
Well,
They're
they're probably like,
probably
quit
like-
messing with us.
well, to quit messing with the earth. We're
Yeah.
fucking,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
fucking everything
Stop.
up, you know.
Stop dumping all this shit in here. You're killing everybody.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, that's. So I guess there could be some sort of reason why he's passionate about orcas, and maybe that's empowering to him to take on great white sharks, just like this apex predator that
Mm-hmm.
he can conquer.
Is that
Maybe,
the only
like-
thing that he hunted? Was great whites?
Well, sharks. He
Or any
hunted sharks in
sharks.
general, I think.
Yeah, I know he had a lot of skulls on there, like I guess jaws.
Tiger,
Hmm.
There were tiger sharks,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and he
bull
I think
sharks.
yeah, there was a point where he talks about them, isn't there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like his different scars are different sharks.
Yeah,
it's
right.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's really.
So I guess that's also a great place to start to pick out all of those, because he talks about all the different Jaws that he has.
Yeah, right.
So you could develop those stories too if you wanted to keep it like, you know, like really work backwards from the movie and try to keep it very like intertwined and
Build like a timeline.
like a timeline that's perfect that doesn't like deviate whatsoever. I guess you could start that way and work backwards. So you know your comic would probably be bopping back and forth in future, past.
Yeah.
Thing. So it could be just like short little stories. Each comic could be, you know, like you know, thinking like their actual comic sizes. You know, 16 pages. Each one could be a story, but they could be like in all different time periods.
Right.
Like they
right.
don't have to. The lineage of them doesn't have to, you know, be consecutive.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's cool too, because like the idea was we had that one. I had that one thought where it starts with him being eaten,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, it starts with him being eaten, and then it goes to like a flashback. But
Yeah.
then you and I were even saying, well, what happens after he gets eaten? Like, is he dead? But what if like the orcas come back, they like eat him, and he becomes an orca?
Whoa.
Oh, like but like post death.
Yeah, like
yeah.
his soul like goes like to the orcas,
And
you
he
know?
becomes an orca.
Yeah, and he hunts, and he just continues to hunt.
Didn't
Yeah.
you say something too while he's getting eaten? Like his inner monologue is going? Like you can hear his inner monologue?
Yeah. Well, that was like a thought. Was like that's what that is. The whole thing starts with the last scene that you see of him,
Yeah.
like getting
I like
kind
that
of
idea.
chewed up.
And his thoughts going on there.
Mhm.
And like the whole thing is sort of a flashback, right? I
Right.
think we talked about
Right.
that. Like the whole comic series is a complete flashback, like flash before his eyes, but it just can go on forever.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's an awesome intro.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Starting at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, you know, and rightfully so, because that's where the source material is,
Right.
Mhm.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good start, I think. How are we
Yeah.
looking for time?
We just hit a half hour.
A half hour?
Yeah.
So you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, we can wrap it up.
Yeah. I think, yeah, it would be really cool to dink around with this. Maybe even, you know, in our downtime, work on a script or two. You know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someone will take up the mantle and do it, and be really fun to see where they go with it.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be great.
And yeah, I think the plan now is just I think we're gonna get sort of a chalkboard going with ideas, and we're gonna
Yeah.
start there. And I think eventually the plan is to get live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we
go
wanna
live.
sort of communicate with people as we're going.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
cool. And have it
And,
more of like
Yeah.
an even more open discussion about
Ye-
anything. you
Yeah.
know,
Right.
Broaden the horizon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mostly creative ideas. So
Great. Well,
Yeah.
let's wrap it up with the
The
with the
jingle?
song again.
Yeah.
with the jingle.
Why not?
Do the jingle. Do we have an outro song? We don't have an outro song.
Not yet.
We'll get an outro song, but for now
We'll play the intro.
we'll play the intro again.
Hanging out just another night of the week. Or to be more specific, it's a Tuesday Eve. Got some ideas that just might intrigue. You should come on by tonight. We're spilling the beans.